Hey there, friends and fans. Welcome to another episode of The Magic of Music. My name is John Lerack, and today we're going to look at another way to navigate through a score when the composer, the songwriter wants you to kind of jump back and forth to different places in the music. In a previous video, we looked at repeat signs, first, second, third endings, etc. But today we're going to look at DSL Coda. Well, the DS stands for dal segno, which is Italian for the sign. And sometimes you're going to see this is going to say DSL Coda. And what that means is to jump back to where you see the sign. And I'll show that to you in just a couple minutes. But you go back to there and you play until you see the sign that says go Coda. And Coda is the ending, so then you jump to the end. So this means you play and you play and you play till you see DSL Coda. You jump back to the sign and you play until it says jump to the coda. So to illustrate this, we're going to look at Sheryl Crow's song, Every Day is a Winding Road. It's a great example to show you not only how we navigate repeats to refresh that, but also how to use the DSL coda. So once again, here we see Sheryl Crow's Every Day is a Winding Road. This is the first page of the music, obviously, and you can see where I've circled in red the repeat sign. That means we're going to start through here. We're going to sing, I hitched a ride with a vending machine repairman. He says he's been down that road more than twice. Then we turn the page and we keep going. But at some point, we're going to come back to here and sing that second verse. He's got a daughter he calls Easter. And we know we're going to come back there with a repeat sign because, first of all, we've identified before that this is a repeat sign. And because those two little dots in the middle are on the right side, looking forward, looking ahead the direction we're going, we know we're going to go forward from there, but then come back and go forward again. So then you can see we went on to the second page, and there's nothing there. We just keep going, and we get to the third page. Day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer. Every day is a faded sign. I get a little bit. Now above that, notice that number 1 I circled. This is what's called an ending. And it means that the first time before we do any repeating that we come here, we sing everything that's under this line, but we're not going to sing it a second time. We might sing other things a second time, but not this. So we continue to the bottom of the page, and we see, again, I've got the repeat sign circled in red, and the dots are facing the other direction, saying go back the way you came, and sing from there. So once again, we're back on the first page. You see where where you go back to from that first ending, and now's when we sing the second verse. He's got a daughter he calls Easter. Now this time, again, we sing the words on the second page, and we come to our third page where it says day is a winding road. And notice the stuff I've done down here. If you look halfway through the page, I've circled that number 1 in red, saying, okay, well, we do this the first time, but not again. And so I've crossed out those other measures, saying that we don't do this again. We need to skip those and jump forward to the next page. Now at the top of this next page, you see again circled in red is that horizontal line, and underneath it says 2 and 3. This means it's the second and third ending. So we're going to do this. At some point we're going to jump back someplace else in the music, and we're going to do it again. But for now we just sing, we go forward. You see halfway down I've circled where it says to coda. But we don't do that yet because this is the first time we see it. And here's where we're getting different from just using normal repeats like we've done so far in the song. So we sing that and we go on to the next page. So now we sing this next page, and you see I haven't written anything on here, so we just sing this page straight through and we go on to the next page. Now look what happens here. We have this first line, and at the end of that first line we have that DSL Coda with that funny sign in there. That funny sign is what we have to go back someplace earlier in the music and look for, because that's what the songwriter wants us to do. They want us to go back to another place, and it's going to be every day is a winding road. But the part below it we don't sing yet. You see I've circled it in yellow with coda, and that means we're going to do it later when we're ready for the end. So we sing that first line, and we have to look back and find the sign. So look where the sign takes us. It takes us back to where it says chorus at the top. A day is a winding road. And if you remember, the previous page had every And then it kind of ended and it said jump back, because she doesn't have another verse here now she wants us to sing or play. She just wants us to sing that chorus over again. So instead of complicating things with another repeat sign, because if you notice later down the page, there's that first ending again. And since we've already done that and we've skipped it once, we're going to skip it again. But she wants that chorus and she doesn't want to have to write out more paper. So she just says, skip back to the sign and go from there. So we sing from that. And then we get to the third line. I get a little bit. And again, we skip the first ending. We don't play it. And we jump to that next page with the second and third ending. And this time it's the third ending because we've done the first, we did the second last time through, and now we're doing this for the third time. So here we are on that next page, and you see again at the top, the 2 and the 3, this time in yellow. It's just a reminder, closer every day is a winding road. I get a little bit closer every day is a faded sign. I get a little bit, and notice then I X out all the measures. And above that, it says to Coda, and it gives you this funny little sign that looks like a bullseye. And you want to go and find that bullseye. So you jump over to what's the last page of the song, and you find the coda. So, of course, the coda may not be on the last page. It may start sooner. But you see we skipped this page entirely that I have blacked out because we had earlier the page before it said skip everything else from here until we get to the coda. So you see on the last page, if we look at the top, when we were here previously, we had every, at the end of that first line, it said DSL coda. It means go back to that sign. We've already done that. So now we skipped ahead to the coda, which I have circled in red, and we sing and play from there to the end. Notice that she has another repeat sign in here. There's no first or second ending, so it means repeat it at least once. You know, in most rock and pop music, they tend to fade out. So she just says repeat and fade, or you can find an ending, which could just be a final chord. So that is how you navigate DSL coda. Well, that's it for today's episode of The Magic of Music. I hope you learned something and you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up down below. Feel free to leave comments or requests. Subscribe to my page, turn on notifications, and please also follow me on Facebook and Instagram under John Lerack Music. Thanks for tuning in.